Okay, we were answering a question about people who are late to um, parties or other events. And that's what we were doing. So let's continue that. The answer is, well, wait. This is about past behavior, right? That you lately have all the time in the world to ruminate on because you are currently not gathering to keep your community safe, right? You also don't know how know your family member feels this is acceptable. You know she arrives late and leaves early. That's the extent of your direct knowledge. Beyond that is speculation. If you know her really well, then it's informed speculation, yes. But people can swan in late and still feel shame for it, for example. Or she can know it's wrong and know others resent it, but still have reasons for doing it that outweigh the social damage risk. And the grand entrance, your harumphin could, to her, be a walk of shame she wishes she were organized enough to avoid, or an unfortunate necessity. These are examples of speculation that doesn't assume the worst of her. So that's where I will start my advice. Deal with this by not filling in any of the blanks with negative judgments. I, too, was brought up to believe a lot of inflexible ways of behaving and perceiving, and I can vouch firsthand for the liberating effect of rethinking and even rejecting such indoctrination. Is etiquette important? Yes, emphatically so. It gives us a general idea of how to be considerate. It's a blueprint for people who don't want to give offense. But it stops being useful when it's deployed instead of us as a blueprint for taking offense. I urge you and your fellow attendees to deal charitably with this relative and anyone else who goes off the script as harmlessly in the scheme of things as she does. Whenever she arrives, be happy to see her. Whenever she leaves, say you're glad she came. When she's there, engage her in conversation. Go out of your way to include her, unless she's clearly uncomfortable with hostly attention, in which case you make it your privilege to give her space. This grace costs you nothing. It might enrich you both. You can see it as rewarding bad behavior, sure, or you can see it as prioritizing inclusion. Up to you. Latter feels kinder. And if you still need persuading, try this. Do you love this family member, or at a minimum, feel it's important to keep including her, if for no other reason than to avoid drama or to keep the daughter in the fold? Then you can decide that's a good enough reason to find excuses not to take offense. Listen, I'm not a big fan of people who are super late either, or who just don't, I think it really all depends upon the nature of the event, of course. If you're hosting a dinner where it starts promptly at a certain time and the person just shows up late, that can be a little, annoying. I also think if you're just the type of person who's often prompt to things, you take particular offense, or maybe you feel slighted by, or you feel like, I don't know, maybe you're even a little bit jealous of the fact that other people just kind of waltz in when they want to waltz in and feel no little shame or guilt or qualms about it. But you're like the type of person who's very much regimented, be there on time, be there 5 minutes beforehand, whatever. And so you've made that be your, your philosophy of life. And if you have to live by that and keep attention to a time schedule when others aren't or don't, it can feel like a slight to you. Which I understand. Looking at the health section now. Typically, I can get through this pretty quick. Not that I don't want to be healthy, but obviously I just don't see anything sometimes in here of interest. Dunzo. Currents takes a little bit longer sometimes to get through because it's commentary. You have to take a little bit longer to read. Imagine if you were pictured in this. I mean, listen, I don't know. If you're into this kind of thing, if you would love to be like that guy, good for you. But If this was me on the front cover, on the cover of the current section in Philadelphia Inquirer for Sunday, January 10th, 2021, and like people could see me there, like acting a fool, I want to be thrilled. Although, hey, if you go, you might be pictured there. So I guess they kind of knew what they were getting into. From rock bottom, how do we go up? America has a 244-year-long knack for stepping away from the abyss by Will Bunch. On the bloody morning after America woke up, apologies to the 90s alt-rock band Lit, with the wrecked car still parked in the front yard of the U.S. Capitol, as a nation that finally fell asleep with its clothes on around 3:45 a.m. is now head-throbbing, promising the world that the unfortunate events of January 6, 2021 were the absolute rock bottom. In the wake of a full-blown insurrection that halted U.S. governance for more than 6 hours Wednesday, the national mood was one of nauseated, hungover contrition. Even on Fox News, megaphone for right-wing conspiracy craziness that these last 4+ years, morning host Brian Kilmeade conceded Thursday morning that the president's behavior has been terrible since he was defeated by Joe Biden in the November election. Will Bunch is like well left. He's like all the way over here. So I'm going to just stop reading him. Not that I don't mind some of his stuff, but I don't feel like it anymore. I don't feel like reading more about this. I just don't. For the security of the nation, Trump must be gone before January 20th by Trudy Rubin. How a far-right insurrection walked right in by Sozi Pedro Tulante, which I'm going to guess is about the discrepancies between the response to Black Lives Matter protests and the riot on Wednesday. All Americans should be disgusted and shocked after seeing the Trump-inspired mob violently invade the heart of American democracy and send our elected officials fleeing for their lives. In trying, though failing, to derail Congress from its sacred institutional duty, affirming President-elect Joe Biden's victory, these rioters showed us who they really are. Capitol Police planning for and response to the siege was shocking and will likely draw more scrutiny. Why didn't they see this coming? The Save America or Stop the Steal rally was no secret. It had been planned for weeks and breathlessly promoted by Donald Trump and his base on social media. Well, it's not going to be promoted. Anything else is really going to be promoted by Trump much longer since he's no longer has a Twitter account. Can't tweet. What's he going to do? No tweeting for you. Blood on his hands. Mark Thiessen, typical conservative slanted columnist, opinion writer. We saw a dark day for our democracy, and Trump is responsible, but we also saw resilience. Let's be clear about what happened Wednesday. The President of the United States invited a crowd of his supporters to Washington, gymmed them up with lies about a stolen election, attacked members of Congress for being complicit in that theft, and then sent them to the U.S. Capitol. We got to get rid of the weak Congress people, Donald Trump declared at his Save America rally on the Ellipse, urging the crowd to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue and take back our country. Soon, thousands of his supporters tried to do just that, overwhelming police barricades, storming the Capitol, and fighting their way into the House and Senate chambers. Blah, 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 blah. Darkest moments in the history of a democracy. Blah, blah, blah. Trump is responsible. Smoke clear Wednesday. Trump said in a tweet. Blah, blah. I love these people. These are great people. I love them. Special. Very special. But amid the darkness, we saw our nation's resiliency. Within hours, the Capitol was... That's what I was just saying earlier. Within hours, the Capitol was cleared and Congress reconvened. By early Thursday morning, both houses had confirmed Joe Biden's victory. So you had the one columnist from earlier in this read saying getting back to normal is a sign of how screwed up things are. And then you have this columnist who says getting back to normal is a sign of our resiliency. Just like I said, damned if you do, damned if you don't for Congress. I never imagined to live through an insurrection at the Capitol by Brendan F. Boyle, Democrat, member of Congress from PA. Parsing the language of the Capitol breach. And then we get the letters to the editor, Gerard Henwood, dredging of the Schuylkill River. He's from Ohio. Okay. Marie Hensinder Kimmel, Maryland. I'm sorry, MD. She's from Cherry Hill. Medical doctor. An abomination witnessed by Beverly Hahn, Bluebell. Eric Ben Shelter from Drescher. Embarrassment in Congress. I'm disgusted that 8 allegedly educated representatives bought so deeply into baseless conspiracy theories that they felt it was just fine to vote to effectively throw 3.5 million legal ballots of their fellow Pennsylvanians in the trash. They did this despite multiple court decisions and extensive media coverage disproving these claims, such as Jonathan Lay's excellent analysis in Thursday's Enquirer. They did this only hours after seeing firsthand the violence that these delusions can lead to. They are an embarrassment to the Commonwealth. Julie Conover, Philadelphia, slow vaccine rollout. Currents, not too bad. Finito. Next. Sunday business. Oh yeah. What we got? The good, the bad, and the ugly. The sooner we all get vaccinated, the sooner we all get vaccinated, the faster spending and investment will rise. Eco-friendly fine. South Philadelphia store wants sustainability to be your goal. Thanks for that. Mending fences. This savvy YouTube VP has gotten ex-competitors on board. She's Carrie Merriman. She's YouTube's Vice President of Content Partnerships. She's worked hard to change Hollywood's perception. By the numbers, they're reviewing in the car section the Acura TLX. It's more emotion than mathematics, according to Scott Sturgis of the driver's seat. It's a nice looking car. If you're in the market for an Acura, it's nice looking, nice body lines. Dunzo. Upside, if you're looking for some good news, looking for good vibes on a Sunday, here's where you're supposedly going to get them. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Support during cancer fight. Foundation serves 1,200 area families a year. That foundation is Breathing Room Foundation. Man's best friend, Carl Mutter, who nurtured the rescue dog back to health, finds Bosco is a critical part of his own recovery and sobriety. Carl and his terrier mix Bosco make a 10-mile round trip every day to a dog park in Blackwood, Camden County. There they are. There's Bosco, riding in a crate attached to his lowrider. Good for you, Carl. Even a hit-and-run driver that plowed into them this year couldn't stop them. Mueller credits Bosco with helping him lose 60 pounds for being a reinforcement in the lifelong battle to be sober. You're the king, Bosco, Mueller said. You're the mayor of this place. I really need him with me. I'm not right when I'm not with him. He saved me from the depression. The sun was setting on the day after Christmas, and the tawny-colored dog that rescued Carl Mutter seized the moment. Bosco leaped atop a big, wide tree stump and stood still above the other dogs, much to the delight of all the people in the Gloucester Township Dog Park, particularly Mutter. Minutes later, Mutter put a North Face vest on Bosco, then a blanket normally used to warm horses. Bosco stepped into the back of a small trailer connected to a recumbent bike Mutter pedals to tow his beloved dog around. Unlike most dogs and owners, Mutter and Bosco had a 5-mile bicycle trip back home in near freezing temps. They both came along for each other at the right time, Mutter said. He's a Camden County resident, but he didn't adopt Bosco at the worst time in his life, but it was a lonely period. He'd been separated from his second wife, and the dog he owned for many years had to be put to sleep. Unable to drive after multiple license suspensions, Mutter had always used bicycles to get to a train station so he could get to Camden, where he works as a behavioral health counselor. In 2016, he started volunteering at the Animal Adoption Center in Lindenwold, near the station. I wonder if people, listen, I'm not judging this guy. I'm just going to ask a simple question. I wonder if people who were affected by his behavior, since he has multiple license suspensions and he has had 2 wives, my guess is that he's had some run-ins. He's done some things that other people might take exception to. I wonder what those other people would think about this article. About him kind of being like positioned or framed as like somewhat of a good guy, taking in this dog, riding his bike 10 miles every day to a dog park. He grew up in Ocean County and said he started self-medicating depression with alcohol when he was 12. Eesh. As he grew older, he continued to use alcohol and narcotics as a salve, but it made life worse. He spent time in jail and mental health facilities and lost his driver's license for nearly 4 decades. Jeez. He'll be able to drive again when he's 62, and he's saving for a car. After quitting drugs, he earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Richard Stockton College of New Jersey in Atlantic County in '94. He said he couldn't get into law school, so he decided to go into peer and mental health counseling. He gave up alcohol for good in 2011. All right, so 10 years he's been sober. That's good. Earlier this year, he took Bosco on a flight to Oregon to visit the oldest of his 2 sons. They've taken trains to the Poconos. He said a bus to Timber Creek Dog Park would take 2 hours, but the bicycle cuts that time in half. Okay. Again, as long as it didn't hurt anyone, like physically hurt someone. Restaurant offers 650 free meals a day. That restaurant is La Morta, small Mexican restaurant in the Bronx. 650 free meals a day from La Morada. Oh wow, we made it through the Inquirer together. Front section. Cause Grove for Trump's ouster. Vaccine rollout lagging. At nursing homes, staffs are wary. Britain gambles on a vaccine plan. Everything below the fold. Vaccine. Crews search for wreckage after a plane goes missing. Indonesian jet with 62 abroad lost contact with air traffic controllers after takeoff. At least 4 killed as blizzard brings Spain to a standstill. More than 20 inches of snow fell in the Spanish capital, Madrid, according to the weather agency. It's a level unseen in half a century. The Queen got the virus vaccination. Pope Francis said he too will be getting inoculated, possibly this week. Thinking about the Pope, and I wasn't thinking about the Pope, but thinking of the Pope, thinking of the Vatican, they could just peel off a piece of the Vatican's gold-plated wallpaper, just a little slither, just kind of peel it off, give it to some church that's about to close or some Catholic school that's about to close, and just have them pay off all their debt with that sliver. But they'd rather keep the Vatican nice and shiny. All this gold and statues and marble. Just saying. Police staffing levels draw scrutiny. Lawmakers have demanded a review of operations after officers were overrun in a Capitol rampage. police were badly outnumbered. Only a few dozen guarded the west front of the Capitol when they were rushed by thousands of rioters bent on breaking into the building. Armed with metal pipes, pepper spray, and other weapons, the mob pushed past the thin police line. One rioter hurled a fire extinguisher at an officer, according to a video widely circulated on YouTube. "They're getting into the Capitol tonight! They're getting in!" the man filming shouts in delight. One disturbing video shows a bloody police officer screaming for help as he is crushed by rioters inside the Capitol building. I've seen that video. It is pretty disturbing. The young officer is pinned between a riot shield and a metal door. Bleeding from the mouth, he cries out in pain and screams, "Help!" Other images show police completely overwhelmed by rioters who shoved, kicked, and punched their way into the building. In one stunning video, a lone police officer tries to hold off a mob of demonstrators from cracking into the lobby. He fails. Yeah, they're going to need to look at that. Figure out why there wasn't more people. Why they weren't all wearing, like, big helmets and, all those other riot gear that they wear when a couple black people are standing on a corner chanting about something. Right-wing calls for action abounding on social media. Twitter ban, no rights violation, according to experts. Good. It is a private company. They want to ban a user, they ban a user. It doesn't matter if it's a president. Sorry. That's the thing with social media. It's not a utility. It's not the water service or a phone number or electric. It might seem like everyone has a Facebook page and it has an account and that it's I don't know, a default service. Somehow it's owed to you if you just want it, I guess. It's not. It's a private company. If you say something they don't like, you post something that violates their terms, whatever it is, if they want to take something down or even reuse something that you've posted, it's theirs. They can do it. Recognize that when you dump thousands of pictures of your kids on Facebook, or you build your career around your Twitter account. It could all be gone whenever they want to remove it from you, because it's their business. Why not? Why don't we just go with the times? I mean, we might as well just stick with it now. At least break the sections apart. Above the fold, below the fold. At home. Cool picture. You can always count on New York Times to have really good photography, really good art, really good layout design. One of the things I like most about looking through the sections at first glance is seeing how they lay them out. Real estate, Metro, Sunday Review. Black Power is here. What happened at the Capitol on Wednesday can't undo what happened in Georgia on Tuesday. Charles Blow on the New South and his case for a second Great Migration. Roxane Gay, David W. Blight, and Ted Widmer on treason and the soul of America. Always a long kind of slog in a way through the Sunday Review. A lot of dense opinion pieces there, and I usually save that because it's just a little bit of work. to like get through it. Good work, but still work. Some nice steals. Hooking up during COVID-19. Don't suck for college kids. Oh man, brutal time. It's a whole part of college. I mean, listen, we go, we learn, we go to class, we get good grades, we get into a major, we take a minor, we, take an internship, we position ourselves for a better job, period, outside of school once we graduate, all that good stuff. Write our essays, to do our term papers, do this exam, take whatever, take that test, doesn't matter. College is about going out and meeting people. Let's be honest, socializing, going to your cafeteria, having some hash browns at the buffet, talking to people about last night's shenanigans, meeting that girl, meeting that guy, having people over to the dorm room, play Mario Kart, maybe GoldenEye, college. And you can't hang out with people. You can't go to parties. You can't even just have a couple guys or gals over to your suite to, I don't know, if you're into beer pong or if you're into just sitting around reading Dostoevsky together. Can't do it. Sucks. I feel for them. I feel for college kids. And I feel for high school kids. Especially those seniors, juniors it's 4 years. If you're lucky to get through it along that timeline. It's 4 years. Stinks. The new sperm economy. Women are joining Facebook groups to meet willing donors. No middleman required. The sperm kings of America are exhausted. These men are flying all over the place. They're shipping their sperm with new vial systems and taking the latest DNA tests because that is what women want now. Sure, they can talk on the phone, but they say it has to be quick because they're driving to Dallas or Kansas City, Missouri or Portland, Maine in time for an ovulation window. They would like to remind me they have day jobs. People are fed up with sperm banks, said Kyle Gordy, 29, who lives in Malibu. He invests in real estate, but spends most of his time donating his sperm, free, except for the cost of travel, to women. He also runs a nearly 11,000-member private Facebook group, Sperm Donation USA, which helps women connect with a roster of hundreds of approved donors. His donor sperm has sired 35 children, with 5 more on the way, he said. They realize this isn't some taboo anymore, Mr. Gordy said. Listen, Mr. Gordy, you're 29. You literally have 35 kids. I'm going to guess when you're 39, 49, 59, maybe sooner, you're going to be like, man, I got 40 kids. I wonder what they're doing. I mean, I know it was just through a sperm donation, but I still have half of my biology and 40 people running around. I wish I knew who they were. I wonder what they're up to. We've been breaking sales records for sales since June worldwide, not just in the U.S. We've broken all records for England, Austria, and Canada, said Angelo Allard, the compliance supervisor of Seattle Sperm Bank, one of the country's biggest sperm banks. Gout flare up. Gouty flare up going on. He said his company. Look at this article. Look at this spread on the sperm surge. Selling 20% more sperm now than a year earlier, even as supplies dwindled. Between our three locations, I usually have about 180 unique donors donating. I'm down to 117. The other month was 80. I don't have any indication it's going to be a positive trend. Hmm. I mean, I don't know if this works for people. I'm not knocking like people donating sperm to help somebody else have a child who can't, who's having a difficult time. But this couple found their donor on the Just a Baby app. It's an app for, I guess, finding sperm. I'll come back to that article, maybe read it in more detail. I agree. Trump isn't the only one typing away. Facebook and Twitter should target other influential users who spread misinformation. Yes. All right. It's 8:17. Finishing up the business section now. I think I'm going to. Maybe I'll just do one more section, and then I really gotta see what's happening downstairs with the fan. It's been a good amount of time up here. I enjoy reading with all of you. It's a nice kind of start to my day. However, I should probably move on. I'm on the style section in case I didn't stress that or clarify that. Can a new design change the CIA's image? A rebranding of the agency's website has prompted quite a bit of online chatter. Last week, the CIA unveiled a new design for its website, CIA.gov, which wouldn't have been news if the site had stuck to the formal signifiers of government authority: dense bureaucratic text, link directories, direct declarative headers, nothing too fancy. Instead, CIA.gov is set against a stark black background, offset by dots and lines that form typographical contours. There are subtle hallmarks of modern web design, like the site's animated scroll. The crisp lines and muted color palette suggest a minimalist branding strategy. On social media, people note the website's visual similarity to electronic music festival flyers and streaming platforms like Boiler Room. Others compare it to the look of The Intercept, an online publication known for its reporting on the CIA, as well as marketing materials for brands like Urban Outfitters. CIA's mission is unlike any other, and our website reflects it, Nicole DeHay, a spokeswoman for the agency, said in a phone interview. With CIA.gov's black and white color scheme, photography, and graphics, we want to pique the interest of talented applicants and provide a modern, relatable experience. Much of the conversation on social media revolved around the tension between the CIA's role in American security and the website's trendy graphical cues. If I didn't read the copy, I wouldn't know if this was for a direct-to-consumer designer toothbrush or an organization that's been accused of destabilizing governments worldwide, said Eric Hu, a freelance creative director who served previously as a design director at Nike Sportswear. People always got some shit to say. Always got something to say. Oh, the CIA is going to redesign a website. Let's try something classy, clean, simple, maybe elegant, maybe modern. This is too nice. This isn't bland enough, right? Let's just stick with simple, guys. Let's not go too outrageous. Let's not go with a black on white kind of concept. Let's go with something real simple, kind of like declarative headers, link directories, bureaucratic text. Nothing too fancy. So they make that. Twitter says, this is the CIA, and they're going to get an website upgrade, and it's just going to be a bunch of links back from like 2007. Is this taxpayer funded? Because we can do better than this. This is the CIA after all. Couldn't they went with some sort of black and white scheme? More of a modernist approach? Maybe minimalist? No matter what you do, you're screwed. I went to pick up my child from the school activity. Social cues. Question for Philip Glanes. I went to pick up my kid from the school activity. The kids are masked and grouped in small pods. While waiting, my friend approached my car. She was obviously tipsy. Even my younger child noticed how oddly she spoke and acted. I know she has a history of problem drinking. She's also going through a contentious divorce and custody dispute. I didn't say anything to her about driving with her child in the car, which I now regret. She can be loud and aggressive. I worry about her kids, and how her drinking may jeopardize her custody battle. My husband and I have moved our child's activity, so we won't have to deal with this again. Is there anything else I can do? Well, you moved your activity, so you don't have to deal with it again. So you pretty much, you know, send a message there about how you want to handle your friend. This is my friend, you say, approached my car. But then you moved your thing. So is she really your friend, or is she just somebody that you don't really deal with because she's a drunk? Let's see what the answer is. Your friend sounds messy. 2 notes of caution, though. You say she was obviously tipsy, but do you know that for sure? If you're right, changing your child's schedule is no solution. The woman is still driving her child and herself under the influence. I think you have a duty to intervene. Keep it focused on what you saw. You may not have first-hand knowledge of her past drinking, divorce, or custody dispute, but you watched her child get into her car while you believed she was drunk. If you witness this behavior again, say matter-of-factly, you seem to have had too much to drink. I'll drive you both home, and you can pick up your car tomorrow. If she resists, tell her, I won't have your child's safety on my conscience. If she continues to refuse, you may threaten to call the police, but let's hope it doesn't come to that. You can still talk to her about the earlier incident, but focus on the specific episode, not her life challenges. She poses a danger to her child and to others if she drives under the influence. You may still decide to report your suspicions, but now, after the fact and without proof, it's unlikely to accomplish much. The COVID police next door. I'm on good terms with my neighbor. We exchanged nice texts over the holidays. 3 days later, she texted again, asking me to confirm that we had conformed to our state's quarantine rule for out-of-state visitors. I have no idea why she thought we hadn't. My daughter's car has out-of-state license plates, but she's been here for months. I was offended by her text, so I ignored it. She texted me the next day saying she assumed we hadn't complied since I hadn't responded. This person sounds like a pain in the ass. Why don't you just get out of my face, lady? You live next door to me. Go come to my house. Walk 6 feet away from me when we walk our dogs. When I'm mowing the lawn, you don't mow your lawn if you don't want to be near me. But stay out of my business. I texted back that I hadn't replied because I thought she was out of line. We went back and forth like this until she said she was blocking my number. Is there a way to rehabilitate this relationship? I wouldn't want to. Chick sounds out of her gourd. As Americans, we prize our personal freedoms. It's nobody's business what I do in my home. But for many, the pandemic has brought into clearer focus our obligations to one another. Isn't it the abdication of responsibility to others that's so galling about people ignoring safety recommendations? Your neighbor may be nosy, judgmental, or terribly frightened. Rather than standing on principle, though, why not call and reassure her? Of course we abide by safety protocols. Are you all right? Hundreds of thousands of our neighbors have died. It would be totally normal if she's not okay. Fair enough. I mean, sometimes, though, when I read these responses by Philip, and I've noticed before, he gives a lot of leeway to the person that is, that could be claimed to be the infringer. The person who, it's always kind of like the understanding that you have to have for the person that, quote, could be in the wrong in this situation seems always more latitude than the person who's actually feeling offended or feeling infringed upon. Like, whatever happened to being like, lady, like, if you want to ask that question, there's a different approach. Why don't you call me? Hey, it was great talking to you today. I was just thinking during our conversation, and the medium is a message, as Marshall McLuhan famously said. So if the medium is texting me, do you follow safety protocols? Send. And I get that. It's devoid of nonverbals, devoid of inflection, tone. It just comes across as like sort of an accusation. But if you call me or you see me, from across the fence and you say, hey, great talking to you today or yesterday. It's just an awkward question to have to ask. And I'm sure everything is on the up and up with you and your family. And I just hate to even have to mention this, but I got somebody in my family who's very immunocompromised. I'm not really feeling well myself. I'm not sick per se, but I have had some run-ins with certain conditions in the past. Whatever. That's just a little bit too much information. Like, bottom line is, like, you're following all the protocols, right? Like, I hate to even ask. Everybody's going to be okay. Everybody will talk it through. And we'll be okay. I spoke with my sister about a Hanukkah gift from my nephew who was 14. I went with her recommendation. After Hanukkah passed, I never heard from him. This is how it always is. I get this. I read this a lot too. People who give gifts but don't get a thank you card are so upset about it. He never thanked me. He never told me how great I am or how great his gift was, how great the gift was. I'm so slighted. Just give the gift. The point of giving a gift is to give a gift to somebody with no expectations or no return, no thoughts of a return, sort of, anything you get out of it. It's supposed to be done generously, unselfishly. Here it is. When I asked my sister if he got my gift card, she told me she had rolled it into a larger gift from me and his toddler cousins that she planned to give him on Christmas. Shouldn't I have been told about this in advance? Okay, it's a little bit different. I should have read the whole thing, but my prior point stands. You don't get a thank you card, so what? Who gives gifts from toddlers? Of course you should have been told. But here's another thought. If you don't know what your teenage nephew might like for Hanukkah, talk or text with him directly. That way, you build your own relationship with him instead of just using your sister as a go-between. This will make it more natural for him to thank you for your gifts and to talk with you generally. Win-win! Depends on how old he is. 14? Okay. When you have a typical conversation with him, if you do talk with him regularly, you could say, hey, Sam, what would you like for Hanukkah? Ah, cool. I'll get you that. Hey, no need to thank me either with a thank you card. You got a busy life. I work as an executive assistant at a prestigious management consulting firm. In October, one of my bosses was elected senior partner, for which he generously and unexpectedly gave me a cash gift of $1,000 to thank me for my hard work. Usually, he gives me a year-end gift of $2,000, but he didn't this year. So, did he forget? Or does he think the October gift was adequate? I am disappointed and rather bitter. May I say something? God, I love to get a cash gift of $2,000 or $1,000 from my company at the end of the year. I get nothing. $0 bonus. I was watching Christmas Vacation, which we do every Christmas time. It's tradition here in the Petiti household. And there's, the whole premise is that he's waiting for his bonus so he can put in his pool. And, if you look at the price of a pool, and I don't know, the 1980s, how much the price of a pool would have been, but let's just say $5,000. Imagine, I can't even fathom the prospect of annually expecting a $5,000 just extra money at the end of the year because you did a nice job, because I don't know. So here's an extra money. Here's not part of your paycheck. It's just $5,000. And then when you don't get it, like, you actually have a right to be annoyed and mad enough that if you kidnap your boss, bring him to your house, he's going to understand and be like, of course I should be giving out $5,000 bonuses. Let me double it. Let me make it 20% more than last year. It's like we've gotten so far away from money coming down to the people that work in the assembly lines and whatever, middle management, not even middle management, just the pencil pushers, people that make the actual day-to-day happen for the CEOs and others, that the idea, it's been so, apart from certain industries, sure, get bonuses like this guy. Many others, it's like, what? Bonus? Hey, this is Christmas vacation? Get out of here. Get back to work. May I say something to this executive, to this elected senior partner? The executive assistant wants to know. Philip says, I want it. I bet 2020 was a weird year for holiday gifts and tips. Unlike your salary, your boss's gifts are purely discretionary. If you're dissatisfied with your pay, speak up. But we're never entitled to gifts, even after we've gotten used to receiving them. Sorry. Take your $1,000, dude, and shut up. The rise of outdated technology, prices of vintage PCs in need of repairs and hard to find parts go up on resale sites. For all the personal technology introduced and popularized in 2020, upscale fitness bikes, at-home COVID-19 tests, game consoles, new and old, the personal computer lands on the list with a bit of a thud. People are buying these PCs not necessarily for daily use, but for the satisfaction they get from rebuilding them. Enjoy. Okay. Should I stop? Yeah. Why not? Keep going. I'm enjoying it. Metropolitan. This is probably my fastest section. This is mostly centered on New York, and if I don't live in New York, which I don't, it's like, usually just 2 flips and I'm done. 3 flips. Like I said, nothing. All right, I'm just gonna get through this last one, and then I'm truly finished. This is gonna be the at-home section, the special section the New York Times began to create once we entered the pandemic. So what are they telling you to do this week at home? Read Beyond Your Borders. Read a Croatian book, Cafe Eureka Revisited. From Italy, The Children's Train. From Denmark, The Copenhagen Trilogy. From Poland, Dear Mrs. Schubert poems. From Greece, Mechanisms of Loss, 2 novellas. Martinique, Mahogany, and Argentina, Proceed with Caution, stories, and a novella. After vaccination, keep your guard up. The New Essentials, video games, right up my alley. They're telling you to get a PlayStation Plus for your PlayStation 5, as if you can get a PlayStation 5. A membership to PlayStation Plus provides access to online gaming across all games on the platform. No shit. They're telling you to get a cheap gaming chair, the Birdrock Home Adjustable 14-position memory foam floor and gaming chair, $78, Amazon. Telling you to get a soundbar. I agree 100%. A soundbar will make the biggest difference in any TV from the built-in speakers. Any TV. This one is a Vizio Elevate 980. It's a little bit pricey for a Vizio. I have a Samsung. It was like $700. I like it a lot. Best gaming headset, the HyperX Cloud Alpha, $80, Amazon. 5 dishes to cook this week. The only time I look at recipes is in the at-home section for the week. Creamy turmeric pasta. Butter, garlic, shallots, half and half, ground turmeric, and parmesan come together in this earthy pasta from Su Li, which is like a more interesting version of classic fettuccine alfredo. Sounds pretty good. Sheet pan jerk salmon, no thanks. Regatta cheese gnocchi. Okay, I see you. Basically a rough dumplings made with regatta, flour, egg, and parmesan. These gnocchi from Mark Bittman aren't the prettiest things you've ever seen, but they're tender and perfect. Top with what you have in the fridge: brown butter, fresh basil leaves, burst cherry tomatoes. Slow cooker chicken cacciatore with mushrooms and bacon, and then chicken soup with toasted farro and greens. Good, decent recipes this week. And we're done. There is still Sunday review. A little bit more Sunday styles. I want to revisit a couple articles in there. Same thing with some of the articles I saw in the business section. And then the New York Times front section. I want to read that too, my own accord. But it was fun in going over most of the paper with you today. We spent a lot of time together. Maybe an hour and a half even, or more. So it was an enjoyable session, enjoyable read today. And we'll be back at it tomorrow around 7 a.m., 6:30, 7 a.m. Hope to see you then. Thanks. Amy Grace will be with us tomorrow.